Good morning, News in Motion family. How are we doing today? We are in the middle of the week. Today is June 28th, 2023. June is getting ready to end, and we are getting ready to head into July. Um, Today is Wednesday, also known as Workshop Wednesday here in News in Motion. So make sure you have your pen and paper ready for our presentation that we will be showing today. Also, don't forget, in the month of July, it will be the Young People Takeover with our very own Isaiah Jones and Lexi Williams as they give the young people's point of view of news headlines and call to action. And they also have fun in their own way. So as you are tuning in live, whether it's through Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or if you are an audio and podcast listener, we just want to say thank you for all your support for News in Motion. And also, if you are watching this as a replay in the afternoon, evening, or near the nighttime, we just want to say thank you for tuning in and for all the support. Also, pray for those with allergies and sinus infections. It is tough out here for all of us. So, sending some extra love for all of those who have some allergies. It's been rough for these last few days. It feels like we getting, you know, a three-piece combo by Muhammad Ali in his prime. So with that being said, and y'all know what we do here. Let's go get some news in motion.
News in motion.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm checking out who's in here. We have YouTube and Facebook firing up the panel. I see Adrian inside. I can't even get it out. I see Shardinia in YouTube. Marion Jackson's over at YouTube as well. So the three of them are holding up the YouTube. Then I see Robert Holman on Facebook, Deborah Sneed on Facebook, Jeffrey Allen James on Facebook. Hester Jackson's on Facebook. Pastor Alex Williams, good morning to you on Facebook. Hi, Laura. If you're having a walk with your hubby this morning, I see Jacqueline Rutledge in Facebook and Deborah Johnson. Good morning. And hear me, there are so many of you that tune in and you just don't come in the chat. People say, I'm here, I'm doing dishes, I'm getting the kids ready, I'm doing this, that, or the other. I see you, Kim. What's up? Good morning to you. And I understand it's like they say, I'm laughing or whatever, but I'm not actually in the chat. We see you, we see you. Adrian says that they are YouTube gang strong. I probably shouldn't say that word right there. I'm just say YouTube strong. I'm paying attention to the words I can and cannot say on some of these platforms. Do us a favor. We haven't asked you to do this in a long time, but hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button on YouTube. If you're in LinkedIn, hit that thumbs up or that heart there. Do something to get the algorithm moving. People are saying they can't get in, which is the strangest thing to us. Isaiah and I looked at the numbers yesterday because we get them real time right after the show. And we're like, we don't see that many people in there, but you're in there. So if we could just keep that algorithm going, that's great. I see you, Regina Short. Y'all, today is Wednesday workshop. I also have some news headlines, but I really believe you're going to enjoy this Wednesday workshop as well. So, with that, y'all, today is Wednesday, y'all. It is Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. I am your host, Gail Dudley. Welcome everyone who's tuning in live, whether you are on being our podcast listeners on our Facebook or YouTube or our LinkedIn page. I just want to say good morning to you if you're tuning in live. I understand that there's some people who are up early morning in Portland, Oregon. You are 3 hours behind of us, and that is the Winsky. I believe I'm saying that correctly. The Winsky family. I don't know why you're up so early, but you are up early, and I hear that you tune in every morning. So I just want to say thank you. You found us about 7 or 8 months ago, and you have been tuning in. I just want to say thank you, and thank you for writing in to let us know. Jeffrey Allen James said, "Say a prayer for me going into surgery at 9 a.m." So yes, y'all, let's pray for Jeffrey Allen James this morning. He's going into surgery at 9 a.m. Thank you so much for letting us know so we know how to pray for you. And if you're happening to watch the replay, I just want to say thank you as well. Good morning, Jeff Payne, Dr. Antoinette. And I see you, Kim Edmondson, coming in here on Hump Day. Yes, it is Hump Day. So, y'all, let me give you some news before we go to Wednesday workshop. And believe me, you're going to want to have something to write with. You're going to want to have something to write with. And Jeffrey, if I don't know what platform you're on, but they're coming in saying that they're praying for you. So we will lift you up again. His surgery is at 9. I see Adrienne Jones coming in here. Y'all, she has opened, and it's my platform, so I can do what I want to. She has she's been in business for a while. Um, um, she and my husband have been friends for years. When she was in a home off of Cleveland Avenue, I would go pick up cakes and pies, Thanksgiving or Valentine's Day or Christmas or whenever. Then she moved and she expanded that business. So she went from her home into a building. She expanded that business. Well, y'all, she has now expanded once again. She has a grand opening on July the 6th in Columbus, Ohio. Um, and it's downtown. I don't have the address. Adrian, if you are able to put the address in there, do that. You have to RSVP. The grand opening is from 12 to 3. I signed up yesterday. I RSVP. Y'all, her cakes, pies, whatever, are phenomenal. Just listen. If I'm going to shout somebody out here, believe me, they're going to be amazing. So they are amazing. She's amazing. It's Kennedy Cakes, and that's cakes with a K. Phenomenal. The taste, the moist. I'm just getting excited. Her German chocolate cake. Now, I'm not a German chocolate cake fan. That's not me. My husband loves it. That German chocolate cake, he will like savor every little morsel left to it. He's like, "Oh, I'm getting ready to be finished with this," but he just savors it. Her red velvet cakes, her pies. Oh, just everything is top notch. Everything is top notch. So, Adrian, if you're still in here, put your address or your website or whatever in there. I see Kenny Stanley up in here. Yeah, congratulations. I see like you, Latrice Jones. She says, "Please pray for me taking a midterm today." So y'all, let's pray for Latrice today. She's taking a midterm today. I don't know about y'all, but when you're older and you return because you have goals and you want to do things, she's going for that next degree. And then soon, y'all, we're gonna be calling her Dr. Latrice Jones. Yep, I prophesied it, called it, whatever. But y'all pray for her. Sometimes, we got to get rid of all like the family, the marriage, the cats, dogs, the work schedule, so we can stay focused on that exam. So y'all, let's pray for Latrice Jones today. I see my sister coming up in here, Kim Edmondson. Y'all, she just co-signed it. She said Adrian's red velvet cake is the bomb. It is, and she does ship. So yeah, I see you, Stephanie Burbridge Hall. Took me someplace else today, but that's okay because that's how we roll here. So y'all, let me get to some news headlines. And first off, and don't any of you outside of Ohio get offended. Just bear with us because I believe you can take something out of this report as well. As you know, here in Ohio, or maybe you don't know, there is a special election on August the 8th. August the 8th, there is a special election, and it's issue 1. In some other districts, you may have some school bonds on there and something else, but the main election on August the 8th in Ohio is issue number 1. Issue number 1. Y'all know here we won't tell you how to vote. We don't want to do that. But our first couple things I want to share with you. Number 1, the last day to register to be able to vote in that election, and we need everybody voting in this election in Ohio, is July the 10th. So that last day to register is coming up. If you are not a registered voter, after News in Motion, you can go to secretaryofstate.gov here, secretaryofstateohio.gov here and register, you can go to vote.us. I'm getting all these confused now. To register, there's many platforms you can register. Isaiah, if you have any in the banners, pop that up so they can register to vote. You have until July the 10th to be able to vote in the August 8th election. This election is no joke. It's no joke. So let me give you some information and why I'm telling you if you're coming in from other why this is not opening, I don't know. If you are coming in from other states or whatever, pay attention because if this passes here, you can best believe it's going to come to a state near you. All right, y'all. Issue 1, there needs to be a 60% vote requirement to approve the constitutional amendment measure. Now, some of y'all, the last election was like in the voting booth saying, how do I vote? I cannot tell you that. And you can be kicked out of the voting booth. Don't do that. Ask your questions before you go into the building. So I'm going to break this down. I'm going to tell you if you vote, a yes vote supports the amendment to amending the Ohio Constitution. Now, I don't know who wants to amend that. I'm going to say it that way. You can read in between the lines. It requires a 60% majority from voters to approve a constitutional amendment. Now, required initiative petitions proposing a constitutional amendment to be signed by at least 5% of the elections in each of Ohio's 88 countries, rather than in 40, I'm sorry, counties, rather than 44 countries, wow, counties. Now, is to remove a 10-day period for petitioners to gather additional signatures for a constitutional amendment. No, now, y'all notice how that was put out there? It's like so confusing. And I'm reading exactly from what it says. That's so confusing. It's like, what does this, what does this even mean? So you should pay attention to that. If you don't understand what something means, you like gotta dig into it. You have to question it. You have to second guess. Like, what's going on here? A no vote. Pay attention, y'all. Pay attention. A no vote. A no vote opposes amending. You're saying, no, I do not want the Ohio Constitution amended regarding constitutional amendments, thus upholding the status quo of requiring, pay attention, y'all, a simple majority. A simple majority is 50 plus 1. 50-50, that's a majority. But then you got to go over that 50 to have the majority. That's called a simple majority. A simple majority. Now, when I was growing up in elementary school, 50 and 50 means it's equal, but 1 over means a simple majority. So the 50 plus 1, that's where we're going, right? That's a no vote. A yes vote is no, that doesn't equal the same. New math, new math. We're going to say 40 will work. And that's if we get 40, that's who wins. I wasn't taught that. So you have a choice. You can vote yes or you can vote no so that you can have that simple majority. Um, Kim Edmondson says, I signed up to work the special election. I'm urging all registered voters to come out. Yes, Kim Edmondson. And you lead me into my next piece. Currently, and I waited till the final hour to be able to share this. Currently, they're looking at about 50% of the precincts not being open, the polling places not being open because they do not have enough election workers. They do not have enough poll workers. If you have that day free, it's a long day, but if you have that day free, I'm encouraging you to go through the training. You can get the training as early as not next week, but the following week. You get paid for it and open it up because what's happening is where they're currently closing election polling locations are, of course, in the marginalized areas. Y'all listen, there's more information coming out from the no side to let people in the marginalized communities know they need to get registered and vote. The other side is that the yes side, let me be fair and balanced. The yes side is hoping that we just don't know about it. So we have to do our due diligence. Now, you want to call me after the show or slide into my DMs? I'm gonna tell you how I'm voting. Okay, you can do that, but I won't do it here. But I'm sure y'all are smart. Y'all can figure it out. Kim says, "Wow, yeah, wow, this is deep." Adrian says, "Board of Elections need the poll workers. I will be at a site working all day. It's a lot of work to do that. A lot of work." So I wanted to give you that, and I want to give you one more thing about the election. If I can get this open, and then I'll move on to the other news. Um, let me see. The polls will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. all throughout Ohio. Um, uh, you can register to vote. I told you that already. Early voting. Early voting will begin on July the 11th. Early voting will begin on July the 11th. But you have to remember that back in April 6th, HB House Bill 458 went into effect, removing the Monday before the Tuesday voting. So remember that, y'all. There's been a day removed. That was House Bill 458 that has been removed. So, got to pay attention to that. Don't think you can show up that Monday before that Tuesday. You cannot. Here's who's eligible for absentee voting. In Ohio, absentee ballots may be requested for each individual election beginning on January the 1st or 90 days before the date of an election. We're past all that, whichever is earlier. The request must be received by the local county board of elections by the close of business on the seventh day before the election. So the seventh day. So if you are an absentee voter, they have to be received on the seventh day before the election. Y'all send those bad boys this weekend. Just be done with it. Send them in. A return absentee ballot must then be postmarked before the election. So y'all need to pay attention to this and get them done. Get them done. You know by now what type of ID is needed. So that's really what I want to share. The main thing is y'all August the 8th. August the 8th. Marion says, thank you for answering my question. Is there early voting available? See, I like how we just connect like that. So y'all, that's what's on the line. Please pay attention. The reason I'm sharing this here with everybody is because if this measure passes in Ohio, you can best believe it's coming to a state near you, if not your particular state. Y'all, Supreme Court news, real quick. The U.S. Supreme Court rejected a case yesterday in a 6-3 decision that would have significantly expanded state legislators' authority to redraw congressional maps. Why can't I talk today? Congressional maps and regulate federal election and processes, ruling state judges to have power to override state legislators. This was a Moore versus Harper, was the independent state legislator theory, which rests on two provisions of the Constitution: Article 1's election clause and Article 2's electors clause. The case was brought by Republican lawmakers in North Carolina who sought to assert control over election regulations after their previously drawn congressional maps were invalidated by the state Supreme Court. The ruling emphasizes, I can't get this out of here, that state courts retain the ability to review legislative action. However, they still adhere to the ordinary bounds of judicial reviews within the limit of the Constitution's election clause. What am I saying? All that got thrown out. The Supreme Court rejected all of that. You can go to Supreme Court website to read this for yourself, but they rejected all that, which is really a win for the people. We the people. It's a win. They're saying, no, you're not going to determine who wins the election. And then we also have to ask the question, why are Republicans bringing these type of things to state Supreme Courts and then the U.S. Supreme Court? What are you really trying to do there? What for what? Just run fair, If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. We need to come to an end of that. So they canceled that out. They're still looking at some other things with the elections clause. They're looking at the pandemic. Several courts were required to make decisions about absentee ballots. Republicans felt that it was an overstep, while Democrats argued that they were protecting voting rights. So we really have to narrow all of this down. And this is going to go into the Wednesday workshop in a few moments. Kim Edmondson says, is there a flyer with the dates and deadlines? I have not seen one, which is the craziest thing, Kim. Crazy. Good morning, Judy. All right, y'all. FBI. Yeah, they said that the Department of Homeland Security and FBI ignored y'all massive amount of intelligence before the January 6th insurrection. This is coming from Associated Press. The Senate and the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, they downplayed this. So that would have been happening right after the 2020 elections. They just downplayed it, but they were getting so much intelligence, but they ignored it. So just watch more of this come out because more and more is coming out. Y'all, wildfire smoke from Canada and this air quality is still happening. USA Today is reporting that Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis had the worst air quality in the world yesterday as wildfire smoke from Canada covered parts of Midwest, including Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio, Wisconsin, and eastern Pennsylvania. So y'all still be careful. That air quality alert is going, I believe, until 1 a.m. Tomorrow morning. This is just a question. This is just a question. I want to hear from you all from my question. Then I'm going into the Wednesday workshop. This is news out of the Hollywood Reporter and others, and I'm sure you heard this yesterday. Sony Pictures announced yesterday that Ryan Seacrest, the longtime face of the singing contest American Idol, will replace the outgoing Pat Sajak as host of the iconic game show Wheel of Fortune. Here's my question. And again, it's just a question. That's why I called it just a question. Are there any other candidates for some of these spots that we see on TV? Any others? Anybody else out there that we can tap into for game shows? Other than Steve Harvey, are there any others? And he's with Family Feud. Are there any others? Uh, Why? When I heard that, I'm thinking, okay, Ryan Seacrest is cool, but is there anybody else that we can tap into? What about some young talent? Mike Nicholson said Wayne Brady. What about some young talent? Yeah, Wayne Brady's with morning, whatever that game show is. Um, what about some young talent, some new faces to make it fun, to bring it into this millennial age group? Young people, something. Can we do anything to change this up? Just a question that I have for you as I get ready to go into the Wednesday workshop. I don't know why that bothered me, but it bothered me. All right, y'all ready for Wednesday workshop? We got a lot to talk about. Got a lot to talk about. I'm calling this life, entrepreneurship, and politics. Um, Jacqueline says, reminds me of Oscar So White. Yeah, yeah. Just it's just interesting to me. So life, entrepreneurship, and politics, news in motion Wednesday workshop with me, Gail Dudley. I'm here to help you out, y'all. I'm here to help you out. Adrian says, y'all really went to Ryan Seacrest, didn't y'all? Adrian said, yes, Seacrest has made his millions. Let someone else gain some fame. I'm just thinking somebody. Yes, Marion, Wayne Brady is on Let's Make a Deal. Yeah. So y'all, here's the question. And I want to start here. And I'm tying this into a lot that I learned last week that I said I wanted to share with you all. Why do we earn money in the first place? That's my first question. So y'all can just write that down somewhere in your journal because it's going to take you, I would say, several days to answer that question. So that's question number one. Question number two, those of us who are in business, why are we in business? Why are we in business? Can we identify the why? Why are we in business? Question number three, and this is for all of us when we're thinking of life, entrepreneurship, and politics. What do we hope to gain? What do we hope to gain? So, again, we want to go back and look at, why do we earn money in the first place? Why are we in business? And what do we hope to gain? I want y'all to focus on those three questions as I begin to walk through some of this. Um, if you think about, and I love just pulling all of these different sessions together. If you think about Bible times to today, what were some of the things that you see as similarities that we actually see on a regular basis, and what are some things that are completely different? So in one workshop, I was writing down self-supporting Bible times, small trades Bible times, and lifelong vocations Bible times. Today, I'm seeing technology, international economy, transportation as some. Those are just a few. I have a longer list, but those are just a few. So when you're thinking about this, and just an observation, what are the similarities and what are the differences when it comes to politics? Everywhere I see in the Bible, you can see politics. You can see politics are there. So, another question that I would ask you, that was asked of us a lot last week, was, um, why do people want to separate politics in their daily living? What's the purpose behind saying, "Oh, that's political. I don't get into that," and we shy away or we walk away from politics when politics are really up front. They're facing us every day. So throughout your day to day or later on this week, write down everything that you realize that you face when it comes to politics. For example, your charitable contributions. Now, you may say it's just a charitable contribution, and I will push back and say, really? For example, with me, y'all know I have this passion behind food insecurity. And the passion is that I want to see everyone food secure. I want them to have security in food. Then I focus on children. And when I focus on children, I'm looking at the fact, if they go to school hungry, they're already at a disadvantage, because of their hunger, there's many of them are unable to comprehend the lesson of the day, especially in the morning when they're really hungry. They may have they may have a high, I'm sorry, a low and a high throughout the day. But if I give to that, what am I actually giving to? I'm giving so that the children have something to eat, that families have something to eat, whether that's monetary or taking food to a local food bank or a church or to a home or whatever. But I'm also sending the message politically that I support this cause. So we have to focus on, what is this and why are we doing it and what do we hope to gain out of it. So in everything that we do, going back to yesterday's inspirational message, self-interest versus greed. Look, is this my self-interest? Is this a greed that I'm working through? What is it? So what do I hope to gain? Well, I hope to gain that people are they're getting the recognition, that I'm hungry. So help me feed me. Now, the thing that we need to look at as a whole when it comes to politics and life is that we just don't want to keep them in that place of being our project. No, that's not what we want to do. We want to empower them to help them get out of the situation they're in. So when we're thinking about government and we're looking at what's the government part of it, how long do we want to keep people in the cycle of government? So food stamps, welfare, whatever. What is that cycle and what does it look like? I want to take you to when I was doing some conferences in the UK. When we were in the UK and we were going through their ministry department, which is a government agency, their ministry department, we got onto the fact of how long pregnant women, and I will never forget this, pregnant single pregnant women who may be out on their own, they get 12 months of housing, of food, of clothing, of diapers, of utilities, along with training and education. And this is all free. I'll never forget sitting back saying, "Y'all do what?" And then they position them to live. They position them to live. So when I was going through some of these courses last week, it reminded me of different countries that I went to because we also dealt with in the classes last week foreign policy, foreign aid, and what's happening. For example, and I learned this from the professor who talked on being a part of the budget committee with the U.S. senators. Yeah, it's amazing what you hear once they break this down. So here's something that I learned last week that I have to share it with you all. So you all hear, or you may have heard that there's a spin. I'm gonna use the word spin that the GOP will say that the Biden-Harris administration they support abortion at 8 and 9 months of pregnancy. And you sitting here like that ain't happening here in America. Well, if there's a line item for, let's say, foreign aid to Mexico, Guatemala, Venezuela, so forth and so on, and it's a health line item. But if that country, you see a uptick of abortion late in pregnancy, there's the spin that this administration is giving to this. You opened my eyes, y'all. It opened my eyes. I said, "What?" But the young man was telling us, but every administration does it. There's a line item for foreign policy that says health. And then they spin that however they want to. But if you go and look at the budget, you just see the line item that says health. You don't see where it's going because you're not telling them how they can use it. It just says health. This is where life, business, entrepreneurship, politics, we have to open this up because this traces right back to voting. How we vote, having an understanding of voting, how we attend town hall meetings, how we ask the questions that we have up here. Along with that, as we're talking life and politics, consumerism and materialism. Consumerism, and y'all need to write back and let me know if this is making sense or not. Consumerism. Now, y'all, we often assume that we can apply what happened 20 years ago to today. It may or may not work because things change. Technology has changed. Um, the political landscape has changed. Um, rules, laws, legislation has changed. So we have to pull back and read into that legislation, read into those policies and procedures, looking at the House bills and Senate bills to say, what can I or can't I do? So many of us, me included, that's why I believe we should always continue to learn so that we can expand upon our knowledge. So many of us, again, me included, we can fixate, if you will, on a certain Senate bill or House bill. Well, that may have been 3 years ago. That House bill or Senate bill may have changed today. So we have to have some sort of knowledge. We cannot disconnect from these bills. This legislation, we have to have some knowledge to continue to work out what it is that we're doing. That's why voting is important. That's why town halls are important. They are. So, how do we create value from all this consumerism and materialism? So, consumerism, are we just constantly taking or are we giving? Materialism, are we just becoming greedy and holding on to what we have or not putting it out there for someone else? Greed, going back to yesterday from that professor, greed is human, not an economic vice. So y'all, greed is human. When he said that, I was like, what? He said that's it's human of us to have some sort of greed where we're like, this one's here. I've given out so much. This one here is mine, and I'm not willing to let this go. So that's greed. It's human. It's there. Greed is not, and I believe I brought this out yesterday, is not the same as self-interest, which is also profit. Every person has to make a profit. You have to make a profit. That's how you live. That is how you live. If you're constantly giving everything away free, you're not fully living because at some point, what you're giving away free is going to run out if you're not bringing something back in. Something he said, and I've said this to you all here on News in Motion. Something he said last week just really stuck with me. I may have mentioned this yesterday with Greed as well. He says, stop thinking that your prices are too high. He made the statement, and I was sharing this with Deborah Johnson yesterday. He said, he goes, if you have a $2,500 service, he goes, people will say, I'm giving you a summer special for 1997. He said, stop that. He said, just stop it. Is the price 1997 or is it 2500? He said, if it's 2500 with a straight face, you tell people this is $2,500. Either they're going to buy it or they're not going to buy it. He said, if they're not going to buy it, that's not your customer. He said, that's not your customer. He said, why devalue yourself to get somebody to sign on with you for a service? You've already lowered what it is that you're doing. He said, that's that person who's looking at it as consumerism. I want something from you, and you're willing to drop your prices to say, I'm here to give it to you. He said, ministry is not free. I think I told y'all that yesterday. He said, it's not free. He said, you have to pay for that. But are you willing to hold on to the truth that everything has a price and you have a price tag, that you need to operate in that way? I thought that was powerful, y'all. I thought that was powerful. So here are some thoughts. I know I just looked at, I can do this for a whole hour. But here's some thoughts, which turns into also questions. What creates movement in and out of income groups? What creates that movement? Is it that we're in a low period or high period? Is it that we devalue ourselves? And I gave y'all his number because that's probably where he is. He's probably over that. But we can even say, my summer, this is really $125. My summer special is $50. We can use a smaller number that takes you in and out of income because you're willing to devalue that product or to devalue yourself because you're trying to gain clients. No, this is what it costs. Because I'm still trying to, back to politics, I'm still trying to give to those who are food insecure. Whatever your thing is, I'm still trying to give my tithes at church. I'm still trying to sow into homelessness so that people can come out of homelessness and come out of poverty. I'm sowing into setting women free out of domestic violence. I'm sewing into mental health for Black males. Whatever that is, we come in and out of these income groups. But if we're doing that, you have to think about, will that decrease the amount of that charitable contribution or that philanthropy number that you're trying to give to other people? Deborah says, Marion says, yes, this is absolutely making sense. Deborah says, yes, when you devalue yourself, you resent the service you give because you know it is worth more. Great point. The next piece here, and I'm definitely running out of time, are some inequalities a result of choices? He asked that question. One of the professors asked that question last week, and it just shut me down for a minute. And I said, is it because of choices? Now, yes, inequalities are real. We see it, we face it, but are some a result of choice? Are we settling? Y'all, our mindset has to change because this all feeds into life. If you're in business, entrepreneurship, side hustle, or your career, and then politics, they intersect. They intersect. And then what about philanthropy? What are you willing to give? What does that look for you? How does that look for you? We have to change that mindset. And you've heard me say it many times here on News in Motion. We have to change that mindset that philanthropist is $1,000 or more. It can be 50 cents or more. The 50 cents add up. We learned that from the candidate Barack Obama before he became president. He was in the barber shops, the hair salons, the community centers, raising. People were giving their change. And from that change, he was raising millions of dollars. And they became a part of the movement of what happened with that. Inequality, is that a problem when it results? It is a problem when it results in injustice, or where people lose hope and economic mobility. And I will go into more of that when we return in September. And then here's my final question before we sign off today. And I really, if you are vulnerable, answer that. If you're still with me, answer that in the chat if you can. If you're listening by podcast, please email us. Is there a difference between a giver and a receiver? Yeah, it's a little trick question, but I really want to hear your take on that. Is there a difference between a giver and a receiver? Which moves me into my inspirational message. Um, Give, receive. That's the title of this inspirational message. We have to pull from our creativity and the innovation of our creative God. So we have to pull from that. We have to pull from that in a way of, what am I called to do? What am I good at? And if you don't know what you're good at, and we've all heard this before, I'll just give you the professor's quote in one of the classes. Um, um, don't be ashamed. These were his words. Don't be ashamed to ask somebody what your gifts and talents are. I'm not done. Be okay when they tell you something you did not know. Be okay when they tell you something you did not know. Yeah, in this time, this summertime, I'll be back tomorrow, and then y'all know we go into Young People Takeover next Wednesday. When we sign off tomorrow, I'm out of here until September. I will come back in July only, not August. If there's any breaking news that I need to share, I'll come on 7:25 when the young people are on. They'll be on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of July, not Monday and not Friday. We will return on September the 11th. I believe that's the first full week, that Monday, September the 11th. We'll be back. And when we come back, we're going to really dig into a lot of this that we're putting out there. So I want you to be thinking about these questions. Go back through this, replay this, write it down, whatever. Think about these questions, because we cannot separate these things. We cannot separate these things that are not. So give and receive, give and receive. What do you want to innovate? What are your gifts, your talents, your skills that you want to put out there? What resources do you need? How do you participate in some of these grants that I shared with you yesterday that the White House unveiled when it comes to 40 billion to connect everyone in America to affordable, reliable, and high-speed internet? Other things I've shared with you from the infrastructure bill, the different grants, the monies that are available. What about if you're a career person or you're in academics? What is it that you need? What are the resources that you need in this season? And how can we here help you? Because believe it or not, y'all, this is all tied back into the elections, the voting, the politics, the Senate bills, the House bills, local bills, all of that. You cannot disconnect this. You can't, no matter how hard you try, you cannot disconnect these things. The information I received, I'm going to begin weaving that into when we return in September. So much I want to share with you all. So excited about this. And y'all, we too have to continue to thrive here at News in Motion. And that's what I'm committed to. I'm committed to thriving here, not just surviving. Thriving, and we need your help. Those of you who have been working on volunteers, start turning in your numbers for us for the month of June. I know there's many college students that are out there that are waiting until they return to college in their dorms to do that. That's fine. Just let us know. But if you are one of our volunteers, if you're still looking to volunteer, do this. The other thing we want to share with you today, because we want to kick this off in September, if you have the gift of wanting to report from your city, your state, let us know. We need to see your resume. We need to see what you're going to report on, just like we have the Unbossed segment here on Tuesdays that will return in September as well. We want you to have that. So if you're a student and that's your major, let us know. Send us your resume, your bio. If you have a 30-second or a 60-second clip, and we know y'all all have reels, send those in. We will do that. It won't be a weekly thing. It will be, if you have something that's hot you want to share, we will do that. So we want to build up more reporters all around the US. Yes, that's what we're doing. We're excited, but y'all know I'm all into building up other people. So we're so excited about that. One last thing before we sign off, and again we'll be back on tomorrow, is that we're launching an introductory advertisement space. Very low cost to kick this off. So if you're interested in advertising space, because even what I did today, we won't be doing that any longer come September. And I learned this last week also. So I sat one on one with someone who was just looking at News in Motion, saying, you could do this, you can do this, you can do this, you're missing this, you're missing that. And then he's like, you're so sweet, you're so nice, you give everybody a platform. He says, but I'm challenging you to cut that out. And I still hear his words in my head, because I'm challenging you to cut that out. He said, if you're trying to build up your news, if you're trying to get into the classrooms, if you're trying to do free community service, community civic engagement workshops, he goes, that's still your time. You got to consider, if you're that self-interest, making a profit. He pulled all this together, y'all. And I sat there and said, wow, I've never heard it explained to me in this way. So if you have a business, a service, and you want to promote here on News in Motion as well as on the podcast, email us at newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com, and we will get that information to you. That's newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. I'll be back tomorrow. So if you think you're going to miss me for 2 months, you want to tune in tomorrow. 7:25 a.m. It will be me and Isaiah. Kenny will be in here. And I'm not sure Lexi will be here or not, but Lexi will be here next week. So until then, y'all, stay safe, stay well, and remember to make some bold moves. I'm out.